What's the worst sexual advice you've ever heard? The little worst. Bite the bean. Oh dear Jesus Christ almighty. You only become pregnant if you both finish at the same time. Jesus. One of the famous Cosmo ones. A shoelace. Wrap it around the middle of his shaft once. So you have two long ends. Then pull on the strings. Flossing it up and down. The feeling of FCKing burning on my dick get it off. Not me. But my sister works in an adult toy shop. And she told me this story. A customer asked her co-worker the difference between two types of Wii Vibes. And the employee told her that one was for square V genus. And the other was designed for triangular V genus. Cosmo advice. Take a baseball and when he is on top, roll it along his spine. The ridges of the baseball will give him a massage while he's going at it. I think they also said it will increase his orgasm or something. I think Cosmo writers are either A. perpetually drunk or B. actually 14-year-old girls in a treehouse thinking up this shitty. Twist the head. Bop it. M. Sturbert in front of him using a popsicle and then invite him to FCK your shockingly ICPSSY. This just yells yeast infection. From Cosmo, obviously. Sprinkle a little pepper under his nose right before he climaxes. Sneezing can feel similar to an orgasm and amplify the feel-good effects. I'm just imagining a woman riding her boyfriend and suddenly grabbing a pepper mill and yelling, "Would you want some pepper with that?" It's simple. Pull an L beads out like you're starting a lawnmower. This made me laugh so hard. I work lawn care and I'm just imagining using as much force as I have to with a mower. On a human anus. How do you finger a girl? Slowly massage the vag. Then rub the clitoris ever so gently. Proceed to stick a single finger in the vagina. Continue adding your fingers until your whole fist is in. Slide your arm slowly into her. Once you reach your shoulder, limbo in with your head. And forcibly insert your other arm, torso, and legs. You are now free to control her. When you feel the job is done. If a guy sucks your dick, you gotta suck his dick back to undo the gayness. Cosmo. Find the seam on his balls and give them a pinch. It will make his orgasm that much more mind-blowing. My ex-girlfriend tried this on me. It made me cry. I didn't know what that feels like, so I just tried it on myself. Someone call the ambulance PLS. A mate of mine once told me that putting deep heat on your cock and balls worked like Viagra. Apparently that was a piece of advice his father-in-law had given him. And he hadn't figured out that it was actually a really painful practical joke. From the high school locker room. Dip your balls in a mug of hot water to kill all the sperm. Then she can't get pregnant. You should see the Facebook profiles now. Lot of trailers. Crosses on the walls. And unhappy faces. When you down on a girl, you spell the alphabet with your tongue like blulalulu, and when you really want to turn up the juice, you go blulalala down Averton. When you're ready for the girl to climax, make sure you yell at the vagina. CUUUM. Do it now. My brother-in-law once told me he believed that if you pull out 3/4 of the way, it won't make it all the way up and she won't get pregnant. Seriously. He is the semi-proud father of 2 kids. Both before age 22. It's not cheating if it's anal. Where I grew up, lots of good Christian girls thought anal didn't count and they were still maintaining their virginity for marriage. I actually knew a girl who subscribed to this theory and obtained the nickname Butt Sex Bethany as a result. You see this a lot in the gay community. Especially around younger guys born after the triple cocktail. If you get HIV, you can just take some pills and you'll be fine. Sex without a condom is so much better. First, there's the obvious, there's more STDs than just AIDS. And then there's the fact that the triple cocktail is expensive. Thirdly, even with the triple cocktail you still carry it, even if your viral load is imperceptible. And so every partner you have afterwards is at risk, and if you plan on just not telling them, then you're an awful human being. I remember when I was 16-17 yo. A friend's mom recommended that if you use a little cola or Sprite up the snatch before a gentleman friend comes around, it'd make him going down on you better. Double wrap condoms for twice the safety. If the girl's on top and you finish in her, gravity will prevent her from getting pregnant. Just be yourself. Girls will love you. If you rinse out a vagina with a turkey baster after unprotected sex, just be yourself. Girls will love you. That one hurt. It's lower than you think. Turns out my initial assessment was pretty spot on. Vape juice is a great lubricant. Never have sex. Ever. Way ahead of ya, Captain. Wasabi lube. That's one way to spice up the sex life. When she's ready to finish, make sure to yell at the vagina. You like that UFC ein retarded? Women should never, ever initiate sex. Ever. It's bad for your relationship. Your husband won't respect you if you initiate. Mine was to have your GF put a mint in her mouth before oral. Not really bad advice in and of itself. But we didn't have any mints. So she grabbed a breath strip and went down on me before it was fully dissolved. It promptly stuck to my penis and burned with the fury of 10,000 icy suns. It wouldn't wash off for 5 full minutes. And afterwards my GF had laughed so hard at my convulsing agony that all we could do afterward was go to bed and try to forget that night ever happened. When I was in 7th grade sex ed, our biology teacher, who was depressed and crazy after a year of cancer treatment, said the more protection you use the better. If you can, you should always use 2 condoms at the same time. And I raised my hand and said no. You shouldn't do that. That will cause friction and it will break. When I said that, she snapped back at me, are you saying that you know more about sex than I do? You will stay after class and I will call your parents to tell them that you have been looking up inappropriate media online. I didn't know what to say after that, but I called her bluff. She was not bluffing. Use plenty of teeth. Blokes love teeth. It drives them crazy. That most tall guys like the ol' finger up the ass. It's very unwelcome in most cases. Especially if you don't warn them. To build upon your point, always ask the first time. Seriously. Nothing is universally enjoyed. Either by specific genders. Or any other groups. Even if most people like it. You can't assume that an individual will. Always ask. That you can let a guy come inside you and stand to let it drain out afterwards. Needless to say, that girl now has a 2-year-old at age 20. I forget the specific advice, but it came from Cosmo and involved a turkey baster. Flush out the vagina using a turkey baster to prevent pregnancy. Go down on her for a bit. Then throw pop rocks on her vagina and let them do all the work. I just made this advice up and it sounds great. Don't worry. Just lay there. He can do all the work. He'll be happy. Sorry. No. Sex is a two-way street. Super late to the party. Cosmo advice as well. I read that if you want to prolong sex with a one-pump chump, squeeze his testicles and twist before he climaxes. This will assuredly stave off unwanted ejaculation. If he climaxes anyways, he'll have an enlightened experience with the most explosive orgasm he's experienced. I was a mere teen when I read that in my girlfriend's room. And I clearly remember looking at her and saying no. But here's the scary thing. It stuck with me. I wondered if any girl I was about to have sex with read that issue. Not sure if Cosmo is giving sex advice or women's self-defense. Titties feel like bags of sand. It's a monthly publication known to some as Cosmo. My dad decided it was time I had the talk and proceed to be so socially awkward about it that I walked away knowing less about sex than going in. He first described a vagina as a second butt where you have a penis. Then proceeded to say one day when you're older and married you take your penis and put it in her cough, then you pee in her. Yes, you read that right. My father told me sex was me putting my penis into a second butt and peeing. I am so thankful for sex ed and pornography because without my first time would have been much different. I doubt Reddit will believe this story and I'm coming late, but I really couldn't make this shit up. You won't get pregnant if you pull out or have sex at night while the sperm are asleep. Grapefruit, yo man. Even though I am not a man, I would think using a grapefruit on my boyfriend's dick would be most unpleasant. The trick is to draw blood with your teeth before you do it. Lick till she comes and she won't be able to get enough of you. Few guys spend more than a few minutes down there. She will want to FCK you every day if you get good with your tongue. Edit. I misread OP. I thought it was best Azul advice. Anyway, this is really good advice if you are interested. A female friend of mine said I should slap my wife in the face during sex. I didn't do that. It was bad advice. Me and my then girlfriend were trying to save a relationship with kinky stuff. We read mags and one of them suggested shoving a digit up each other's ass during sex would heighten the experience. Not only did I not enjoy the sensation, my girlfriend thought my clenching and grunting as a sign that I liked it and pushed deeper. In the ensuing chaos of me physically throwing her off me, he full snail broke off. Frightened it was in my ass, we went to the emergency room for x-rays and an examination. When we got home we found it in the bed. Broke up shortly after that. Don't worry about being compatible, Esuli, with your future husband. Because if you love him you'll love that part of him too. Said to me by my religious mother when I questioned the wisdom of completely abstaining from any and all remotely Esuli activities with a potential spouse. Apart from chase kisses. Oh. And you're not supposed to even talk about that stuff too much or it could arouse the two of you. Which is just as much a sin as actually doing the deed. One of my male friends advised another guy to always hold a woman face down into a pillow while f-king her so she couldn't breathe or scream. Because bitches love that. This whole thread is in our bad women's anatomy goldmine. How has no one mentioned the myth about if you have AIDS, the only cure is sleeping with a virgin? Just that myth has run train on a significant part of Africa. Both people should get drunk first. Not an advice. But I once a guy what he preferred. Either a wet dilated PSSY and a satisfied girl. Or a bloody vagina and a girl in pain from his cock abuse. He obviously had hinted at the second option before. Without blinking he said I'd rather see her in pain. FCK that. Well. That's a Esul sadist. What he needs to do is find a mature masochist and abide by her saffjord. Then they can get each other off to their mutual satisfaction. Otherwise he just would like to pay women. Go slow, girls don't like it hard and fast. Most girls I've been with actually seem to prefer hard and fast. You don't always have to FCK her hard. In fact sometimes that's not right to do. Only homos take it in the ass. Terrible advice. I freaking love it when my wife ties me down and shows me how it's done with her strap on. Lick her shta. It tastes like a fritter. No. Nope. Using cologne or air freshener as lube. Oh, it'll make the girl want you even more. Says best friend. It'll also make your penis burn over 30 minutes. In the end, I wished for death and friends that knew a little bit more what women and penises liked. A woman posted on RSX about wanting her so to come in her. But he was not comfortable doing so because of risk of pregnancy. Some dumb CNT was like lol, just ride him and hold on to his body so he can't pull out. Growing up, my buddy's mom sat us both down and had the talk. I got roped in. Cause I just happened to be there at the wrong time. She told us if we needed condoms, but were embarrassed to buy them that she would get them for us. She gave my buddy money to buy them. He spent the money on a date instead. And now he's married and has 2 girls. You can't have sex until you are married. Because Jesus didn't turn out so well. Grab her by the PSSY. The President of the United States. The come hither finger motion in the vagina. I actually fking hate this and it doesn't feel good at all. I find the go in and out with my fingers as fast as I can technique more uncomfortable. If you want it then put a ring on it.